Riley Quick unable to go this weekend, still dealing with the blood blister from a week ago against Tennessee.
Yeah, Vinatieri's a senior. It's one of these guys. He's got experience from Georgia Tech starting. It's not that big of a situation for him. He's just going to grab the ball and do what he does. Change up is a real weapon, and he mixes that in with the fastball up to 90 miles an hour. The biggest thing is going to be is attacking the zone. You see that 11 strikeouts, only 2 walks in his 10 innings. It's going to be, you start giving free passes to a team that wants to be aggressive. You know, that's what they're wanting. They're going to have a chance to steal some bags on you.
Jason Walk, first batter to the plate against Aiden Vinatieri. Game 3 of the series between the Tide and the Sooners. And away we go. Walk once again in the leadoff spot for Oklahoma, followed by Gamble, Carmichael, Willits. There have been some different shuffling of the orders. Dayton Taki with this great weekend moving up to the 5 spot.
You know, the biggest thing, though, that Oklahoma wants to do is they want to get a lead early and then put a lot of pressure on the bases against the opposing pitcher, the opposing catcher. New catcher, Brady Neal's in the lineup for Alabama, so they might put a little pressure early on him.
Vinatieri falling behind 3-0 on Jason Walk. It's been 1 for 9 this weekend at the top of the order for the Sooners. Anthony Perez, home plate umpire, ruling ball 4, a leadoff walk to Jason Walk.
Broadcasting genes. We talked about commanding the zone. Talked about the strikeout to walk ratio and 4-pitch walk.
Vinatieri only his 2nd SEC appearance through 1 scoreless inning against Tennessee last weekend. Trey Gamble, the left fielder. Moving up in the order to the 2 spot after starting in the 6th spot of the order on Friday. Productive weekend yesterday, kept getting on base against the Crimson Tide and had a clutch late sacrifice fly.
You can tell when the catcher holds it and then he doesn't throw it back to the pitcher right at first. You can tell that's when he thinks it's a strike. Vinatieri's not missing by much. It seems like he's all over the zone.
Vinatieri now in front, 1-2 on Gamble. Oklahoma leading the SEC in stolen bases so far this season. Not too aggressive this weekend so far against Alabama.
And I was talking with Coach Todd Butler, the first base coach, before the game, and that's what he said. He goes, JJ, Alabama's pitching coach, Jason Jackson, and the staff have done a great job of really keeping, you know, the guys where they wanted to, right? Because they're wanting to run. Every single guy they bring out there outside of Christensen has like 5, 7, 12 bags. They want to be aggressive, and they really haven't done it outside of like that one delayed steal you had yesterday. But you got to give a lot of credit to the pitchers mixing up the timing, and you'll see Vinatieri's hold it. That's what base runners don't like. They don't like when the pitcher holds that ball.
Check swing, no swing, according to Alex Ransom, third base umpire. He was behind the plate yesterday for game 2 of the series. The runner going, that's fouled away. It's 3-2. Payoff pitch. High RBI, ball 4. The Sooners getting the first 2 men on base with walks. Head coach of the Sooners, Skip Johnson, leading this program to their first season in the Southeastern Conference after performing well against SEC teams throughout the year. Even fell to Ole Miss in that 2022 College World Series in Omaha in the finals.
Well, they had a really good team. I did their Super Regional versus Virginia Tech, some high-quality arms. Horton, they had a shortstop. Peyton Graham was a first baseman. A first-round pick. A lot like this club, really athletic, and that's what you start to see. And defensively, all over the place, really athletic guys.
Gamble being escorted back to the Oklahoma dugout by the training staff. So with that, Gamble's going to be out of the game, and Braden Horton will take over at first. It's a key bat now out of the lineup for Oklahoma and Trey Gamble.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like he was, when he took the pitch on the ball before the walk, he didn't leave the box very quickly, so I didn't know what happened. I just thought maybe he was just gathering himself. Wow, man. Must have been something on maybe the pitch before he had fouled off the ball.
Carmichael skies it down the right field line. There's Fowler for the outs. Lead runner walk will tag and advance to third.
I mean, you just see right there just how much speed and the respect there. Bryce Fowler, that ball's not deep. It is toward the line, but the moment he takes off, Fowler isn't even thinking about making the throw. A lot of times you might see a guy go, hey, let me get it to the cutoff man, online. He just flips it right to second base, make sure there's no way that the behind runner is going to tag as well.
Those are kind of the little things Rob Vaughn's been wanting to clean up from this series. There have been a handful of errors, yes, but just a few defensive miscues, base running miscues that Alabama's had the first 2 days. Now Jackson Willits, the cleanup batter. First pitch strike.
Well, Roger, when you talk about those little bitty things, right, and it's a game where you got number 9 versus 12, and it's a very evenly matched team, and I think both these teams are pretty close when it comes down to it. Those are the things that will win you a ball game, win you a series, give you momentum for that next weekend, or put you in a stuff where, like, if you're Alabama, right, you've lost the last series, even though you're both sitting at 4-2 coming in, and now both at 5-3. It's a matter of Oklahoma has the confidence we've won 3 straight, as opposed to if Alabama loses, they have 2 straight losses.
Willits into right field for a base hit. Walk scores. Jackson Willits starts the scoring for Oklahoma as the throw goes to third, and Horton safe there. RBI single makes it 1-0 Sooners.
All about placement, Roger. If Will Hodos doesn't have a base runner on first base, makes that play, it's not a big deal. Oklahoma 10-0 when scoring in that first inning with a base runner, Horton, on first base. Big 4-hole. Jackson Willits rolls over, gets it in there, and a little first to third action.
Jason Jackson, the pitching coach, associate head coach for the Crimson Tide, out to speak with Finatieri, who has some starting experience, but in a lot of ways, this is a true bullpen game for Alabama to try and just piece together 9 innings on the mound.
Yeah, the talk right now is that this game can't get out of hand this early. That's what you're trying to do. Hey, get you a ground ball. You just got the ground ball. It just happens to be in the 4-hole, gets to the into the outfield. You want Aiden Vinatieri just to continue to keep the approach of, hey, attack the zone, can't give the free passes, and then you're hoping that they hit it at somebody, turn a double play.
Runners on the corners with 1 out for Dayton Taki. One of the key bats this weekend for Oklahoma, driving in 3 runs. Check at first base at Jackson Willits.
already seen, I think that's 3 now, false breaks at first base. A lot of times as the runner, you want to steal, but if he slide steps or you feel like he's too quick, you just do a false break, but also see what the infield defense will do.
Down the left field line and foul off the bat of Dayton Taki. On Friday night, he put the Sooners in front thanks to a home run. Quite a blast in the top of the 8th inning off Alabama's closer, Carson Osmer.
Yeah, hands stayed back well. The changeup was up. He put that into the bullpen. And, I mean, at that moment, it felt like it was all Sooners for that game. And then Alabama continued to claw back like they have done all year.
Taki followed up yesterday with an RBI single in the first inning that gave Oklahoma the early lead against Alabama starter Bobby Alcock. Willits already with an RBI single, making it 1-0 Oklahoma. Foul tip, strike 2. Taki's first year in Norman after transferring from Weatherford Community College, 9 homers a year ago. Last on Friday was his 4th. th pitch of this first inning. Balls compared to 9 strikes so far for Finateri.
Well, Roger, this is something that Coach Jason Jackson talked about too. Is he goes against Zane Adams that first game Friday, 30 foul balls in the first 4 innings. He goes, that has to be a record, and that's just something that the Oklahoma lineup continues to do. They take the good pitches, right, that are down. They're not chasing very much, and they're spoiling those balls that are on the corners and trying to wait to get that pitch they can drive.
Breaking ball just low, and the count evens or now goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. And all those foul balls really added up on Alabama starter Zane Adams, who didn't pitch poorly, but due to that, he couldn't go beyond the 4th inning.
Exactly right.
I made the Crimson Tide go to their bullpen earlier, and now today, pitching depth really being tested. Strikeout for Finateri. Willits will take second base on the stolen bag, his 8th of the year.
You know, Roger, that's probably, you can count on one hand how many times they've really chased, and that ball's out of the zone, so uncharacteristic. But Finateri stays in there. He gets the fastball up, gets the strikeout. They do pick up the extra base. Jacksonville did take off. Thought Brady Neal might have needed to put that one in the back pocket.
Freshman Kyle Branch. First pitch fastball for a strike.
Well, if you're Finateri, this is a big out right here. You get this out, get back in the dugout, especially the way it started with back-to-back leadoff walks, and you're going 1-0. I think you're going, I'll take that one.
Yesterday, the Sooners had single runs in the first, second, and third inning. Bobby Alcock got stronger as that start went along. Fouled away down the right side. 0-2. Branch 2 for 9 this weekend. To second base, Norton makes the play, and the inning is over. 1 run for the Sooners in the top of the first, but Finateri limits the damage. Tied to the plate next. Second Witherspoon the Crimson Tide have faced this weekend. Kyson Witherspoon got the start on Friday night, and now it's his twin brother Malachi on the mound as he has made the transition from being a late inning reliever to now being a Sunday starter for OU this season.
Yeah, that's the guy. I mean, it's twin brothers, twin stuff, right? They both have elite stuff. He might throw a little bit harder. Coach Skip Johnson said he's got the five-pitch mix. I can't spit out my words, Raj. But the high velo, as in Kyson has a little bit more carry on the fastball. Malachi right here is going to have a lot more movement. So you're going to see a lot more sinkers, maybe getting Alabama hitters to pound that ball into the ground.
Here's the lineup for the Crimson Tide. Richie Bonamolo Jr. once again will be leading it off, but keep an eye on former Alabama leadoff hitter Bryce Fowler. He'd been scuffling in SEC play yesterday. He came alive with 3 critical hits for Alabama.
Yeah, and I think it started on Friday night. Had 3 straight walks and had some really good at-bats. And sometimes it just takes a little positivity, getting on base, feeling what it feels like, feel like you're just being productive for a lineup. And then it came out right with him, more 3 straight knocks, and especially that big one in the 9th inning.
Witherspoon from Jacksonville, Florida, went to Fletcher High School and then time at Northwest Florida State College with his brother Kyson before making his way to Norman, Oklahoma as the rain starts to fall in Tuscaloosa. Put the ponchos and the jackets on ASAP.
Where's everybody going?
There's a good overhang with the roof here, but
yeah, the game just started. Why is everybody leaving? No. You can tell when that rain starts coming in, man. Everybody just starts getting up and trying to find cover, and there's enough seats open underneath the grandstand, so they'll find a good one.
Bonamolo's only hit this weekend, his home run yesterday. Moving to that top spot of the Crimson Tide batting order. He had a tough strikeout looking in the 9th inning yesterday as the Crimson Tide trying to rally back. Easton Carmichael throws him out to begin this game for Alabama at the plate.
Oh, Roger, that's exactly what he's wanting to do. I mean, it's a heavy sinking fastball. You're wanting those hitters to just chop that ball right into the dirt in front of home plate, get you some ground balls, make it easy on your defense. When you talk about identical twins, these guys look, I mean, obviously, I'm take out looks, right? I'm talking about mechanics, this kind of thing. They look so identical. They're both starters, but they pitch from the stretch, and so, but it's just so easy how the ball comes out of their hand, not 100% max effort.
Justin LeBron hit by a pitch. He's taken his bumps this weekend, hurt his left wrist late in the ball game on Friday night. Now Sean Stryker out to visit with LeBron. Stryker, the athletic trainer, now joined by the head coach of the Tide, Rob Vaughn.
Well, his last 2 at-bats yesterday, the success was on the inside part of the plate. You know, 5 straight pitches on the inside part of the plate that he had swung and missed at. And so that's going to be the book of him. And you see Malachi Witherspoon trying to go in there, and that ball's just running. See the 2-seam right above his pad. Boy, that's off the tricep, and it probably gave him just not, you know, got all numb on there. He couldn't even feel it, and it takes a little bit to that feeling come back in it.
One out base runner for Cade Snell. Snell, the left fielder, hitting .429 for Alabama. Late in the ball game, a pair of RBI groundouts in the 7th and in the 9th on the first pitch he saw. Ground out to second base to get Alabama to within a run. even really a slow start. 3-14 to begin the year in non-conference play, but he has turned it on ever since, hitting nearly 500 last 19 games.
Yeah, when you're sitting at 429 on the season, and we're almost at the halfway point, you got to feel good about it. It doesn't matter start, finish. You're just hitting the ball and you're seeing it well.
It's all about just cutting down, chasing bad pitches, right? I mean, just staying so much more disciplined on when to swing.
Well, that's what Coach Vaughn talked about, just the lineup in general. Last year was one of the highest swing percentages of an offense that Alabama had compared to in the SEC. And this year they've dropped that swing percentage. And that doesn't mean, hey, they're being passive. It just means sometimes in a count, even though it's 2-0 and you expect a fastball, you don't have to swing at it if it's on the black down and away and you can't do damage with it. And so just picking out the pitch that you want and maybe zoning it up has been a much better approach for these Alabama hitters.
That's why the Crimson Tide have been in the top 5 in the SEC so far this season in drawing walks, and really in the bottom 5 of strikeouts this year. Full count.
When you start to see some of the high-level offenses like Alabama faced last week in Tennessee, and if you watch some Georgia games, they take those close pitches and then they make you feel, because I mean these are college pitchers. It's not like they can throw the exact, it's not big league professional pitchers. They're going to miss. They're going to hit a spot, but then they're going to miss a spot. And so good hitting teams take that borderline pitch, and when the pitcher misses again and they miss over the middle, they make them pay.
Ball 4. 2 on with 1 out for Alabama. Jason Torres back in the cleanup spot of the order, where he had been the cleanup batter for the first month and a few weeks of the season for the Crimson Tide. 3 for 8 this weekend, driving in a run. Now a prime RBI opportunity. 2 on base with 1 out against Witherspoon. First pitch swinging, high and deep to right field. Horton reaches, but it's gone. 3-run homer, Jason Torres. It's Alabama in front, 3-1.
Roger, I think you can thank the Mother Nature, right? As the rain stops a little bit, that ball might have been knocked down, but 97 coming in, 101 coming out. Jason Torres puts Alabama on the board, 3-1. That's how you answer back for the home team. Give up that single run, you put up a crooked number. He says, I feel good in that 4-hole. Put me back in there. I'll drive in some runs.
He's earned some more playing time already. Here's Will Hodo. 3-1 Crimson Tide advantage.
It's almost like Malachi Witherspoon was trying to feel it out a little bit. Last 2 pitches, 97, 98.
Tap back to the mound. Witherspoon tosses out Hodo for out number 2.
Classic 90-mile-an-hour changeup. I've played with guys, though, that were like that come into the game trying to just see if they could give a little less effort, and all of a sudden, like, why do you not go out there and throw it as hard as you can, the first couple pitches? And he's like, I'm trying to save it, Poppy. The guy's name was Edgar Gonzalez. I'm like, 88, 89, all of a sudden a guy 2 runners on, and he's like 98. I'm like, what? Hold on, why would you do that?
Good repertoire for Malachi Witherspoon. Mostly closer last year, led Oklahoma with 5 saves. Coleman Mizell 0 for 3, had 3 strikeouts on Friday for the Crimson Tide. Came off the bench yesterday, drew a key walk. Helped start Alabama's bottom of the 9th. And he's hit by a pitch. Second hit batter this inning by Witherspoon.
You know, Roger, both starters don't look comfortable out there. You know, Aiden Vinatieri didn't look comfortable, and then all of a sudden he started, after about the 20-something pitch, he looked a little bit better right there. I mean, that's a classic case of you make a pitch and you're trying to do it and think you got to go a little bit better. That pitch right before that, the slider was beautiful. It was 88 miles an hour, you know, just fell off the table, and then he tries to do it again, tries to make it a better pitch off the back foot of Coleman Mizell, puts on another free runner.
First time this year, Witherspoon has hit 2 batters in one of his starts. He only gave up 1 run in 4 1/3 innings last week against Mississippi State. Brennan Norton next up. Upper fastball for a strike. 0 for 3, hit by a pitch already. Brennan Norton this weekend for the Crimson Tide. Got the start yesterday, scored 2 runs for Alabama. Baseball given to Witherspoon. Where's he most dangerous with a count 0-2? What's that go-to strikeout pitch?
It's going to be the slider down and away. Like he tried to go to Mizell into the lefty, but man, it's a beautiful pitch to the right-handed hitters because the fastball looks like it comes back, and so you're anticipating that as a right-handed hitter, and then all of a sudden it darts the other way. Or 4-seam on the black, just like that one at 97.
Strikeout closes out the inning, but the big boom of the inning, thanks to Alabama's Jason Torres, a 3-run homer, putting the Tide in front.
Now, home run number 8 for Jason Torres, the cleanup hitter, newly promoted, makes him pay.
The first inning between these teams, Oklahoma and Alabama, it's 3-1 Crimson Tide over the Sooners as we start the top of the 2nd.
You kind of look at that box score, right? You see 3-1 and only 2 total hits. We've seen some free passes from both starting pitchers.
2 walks from Aiden Vinatieri. Began last inning, limited the damage to only 1 run for Oklahoma. Now Sam Christensen will try and get it going as he bats 7th in the order. Bottom 1/3 of the order due up for Oklahoma here in the 2nd.
Roger, he hit that one yesterday. The hands, I mean, it was a beautiful, everything you think of a left-handed hitter, where they want the ball down and in, being able to just drop the head of the bat on there.
Three for 8 with that home run, driving in 3 runs for Oklahoma this weekend. Sam Christensen. Up the middle, Norton sliding stop. Christensen beats it out, but great effort by Alabama's second baseman, Brennan Norton.
Tough part about a pitcher, right? You make a good pitch, you get a jam, he hits it in the right spot. Brennan Norton does everything he can. The slide, I think the wetness of the grass, he slides a little bit further than he wanted to go, not able to put some mustard on the throw, and Christensen out of the box. He smelled the hit and he got it.
A few more raindrops returned in Tuscaloosa as Dawson Willis steps in. Fastball for a strike. Willis hitting .272, everyday third baseman for Oklahoma with 3 homers, 21 runs driven in. It's been 3 for 5 this week. Constantly on base, it feels like, for Oklahoma, bottom of the order. Back up the middle to Vinatieri. Crimson Tide will get the out at second base as Vinatieri makes a nice play on the mound.
He shocked himself. Look at the smile on his face. That is awesome. Boy, Roger, this is fun. Boy, it's like, hey, let's just try it. Oh, wait, I got it. And then it's just such a shock. You mess up the throw. He almost spikes it. Luckily, he's got the most athletic player on the field. Justin LeBron picks it up. Alabama gets the out, but that could have been a double play. But still, a great play by Aiden Vinatieri.
Willis aboard at first base. He is the most dangerous Sooner on the base paths, leading the way with 12 stolen bases this season.
I've enjoyed watching him play the first two games. Just so athletic. I mean, he's a shortstop at heart, and very much could be on maybe not these two teams. You know, I'm not saying he's overtaken Justin LeBron, but a lot of other teams in the league and around the country, he would be their starting shortstop. And so he has made some athletic plays at third base, and a guy that can obviously run with 12 stolen base already.
Son Harris, who started the game in right field, never got to play there defensively with Horton coming in for Trey Gamble. Harris now playing in left field, hitting .300 this year. Came off the bench Friday night, did have the start yesterday. Crimson Tide will keep checking on Willis at first. Runner goes. Neal's throw to second. LeBron with the tag for the out. Willis caught stealing.
Roger, that's the one thing that when you talk to Alabama's coaching staff, they rave about Brady Neal behind the plate, right? He's struggling a little bit at the plate. Not a bad jump by Willis, but a phenomenal throw and a great pickup by Justin LeBron. Look at that ball. Snow cone in the glove, and he holds on to it as he's taken out.
On the 0-2 with 2 strikes, Chip fell. Alabama strike away from getting out of this inning. Some great plays defensively by the Tide. Fouled off the umpire's mask, Anthony Perez.
You always hear these stories of that feels like a horse kicks you in the face with the mask, because you're just sitting there and you're like, all right, I'm watching the ball. This is going to be is it a ball or a strike? And all of a sudden it's a foul ball off your face.
Called third strike. Vinatieri spins a scoreless top of the second. Play going to the bottom of the second, the Oklahoma Sooners and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Glad to welcome you back to the Joe. Roger Huber alongside Lance Cormier. A 30-minute delay, but Malachi Witherspoon able to stay in this ball game. Always tough to deal as a starting pitcher with the delay like we just saw, Lance.
Yeah, 30 minutes, that's, you know, think about it as an extremely long inning, but I don't know if he actually went down and maybe threw a little bit in the indoor facility. That's a lot of times what coaches will do with the starting pitcher.
First pitch to Bryce Fowler. Laced down the left field line for extra bases. Lead-off double on the first pitch since we resumed play.
How about Bryce Fowler? Last 4 ABs, 4 straight hits. I like being able to jump on that first pitch fastball. Like you can expect after a 30-minute delay, you're going to get a first pitch fastball. Love the aggressiveness by Bryce Fowler.
Fowler had been scuffling, but as Lance said, 4 hits in his last 4 at-bats. Brady Neal, first start for him this weekend for the Crimson Tide after Will Plattner caught the first 2 games. Oklahoma keeping an eye on Fowler at second base with his great speed.
Well, he's already made his presence felt in the game with the caught stealing of Willis.
Beal, the transfer from LSU, caught one game against Texas A&M. Opening weekend of SEC play, did not play last week against Tennessee, as Will Plattner is behind the plate for each game. Plattner getting the first 2 starts this weekend.
Well, 94, a little cut. Actually right where you wanted if you're Brady Neal. I mean, your job right now is to get the runner over to third base. You got nobody out, so if you're not going to bunt, you're looking at, as a left-handed hitter, just at least pull the ball on the ground, and he's going in with that cutter, make it easy to hit you a ground ball to second base.
Witherspoon hit 2 batters, had a walk in the last inning, also gave up a 3-run homer to Jason Torres. Leadoff double starts the Alabama second after a 32-minute rain delay. Up the middle. Fowler will get to third. Infield single, Brady Neal.
Well, we see a little bit of the weather already. Branch makes a good play and then slips and falls. I don't know if he's able to make that play though, Roger. I mean, it's deep into the hole. Brady Neal, the left-handed hitter. But that's going to be the story. Or the guy's going to slip and fall, and even as he throws to Willis at third base, it was not a good throw. It bounced to him, so it'll be a sloppy defensive game the rest of this affair.
And on the corners, nobody out. Top of the order at the plate with Richie Bonamolo Jr. Jackson Willits on to second for 1. Branch to first for the double play. Fowler scores to make it 4-1 Alabama. Back in the first inning, it was Jackson Willits that put the Sooners in front on an RBI single against Aiden Vinatieri. But then the big blast by Jason Torres, 3-run homer, made it 3-1 Crimson Tide. Now Alabama just adds to the lead. Even if Bonamolo hits into the double play, no one on base for the nation's top run producer this season, Justin LeBron. LeBron hit by a pitch his first time up. 4 for 9 this weekend against Oklahoma. Good fastball by Witherspoon. Softly chopped left side. Out of the glove of Willis. LeBron's aboard. Third hit this inning for the Crimson Tide.
Another frustrating part about being a sinker ball pitcher, you got hits like this, right? You mentioned 3 hits outside of the Fowler one, just a kind of a bloop down the third base line. Then the rest, you got a little infield single up the middle and then another infield single as well. But Alabama taking advantage of the wet grass and some good speed.
Cade Snell drew a walk first time up. Snell's been so locked in for the Crimson Tide. Riding an 8-game hitting streak coming into this ball game. He's been hitting .455 with 2 outs this year. Skies and high to left field. Harris is there to close out the inning. But the Crimson Tide add a run in this second inning, and as we move to the third, it's 4-1 Alabama. All off to great 8-1 starts. Razorbacks try to join them later on. Alabama's next opponent will be the Auburn Tigers, off to a 4-5 start. That'll be a very entertaining 3-game series coming up next weekend down on the Plains.
Yeah, I think when you look at a lot of those standings and records, you got to go, who did they play, right? Because you got a team like Florida who has played Ole Miss, who's up in the top, Tennessee, who's up in the top, as well as Georgia. You're going like, we don't really know exactly if we're good or if we're even that bad. So same thing about Auburn. They just went to Georgia and ran into a buzzsaw. That Georgia lineup is unbelievable right now.
Jason Walk leading off the third inning for the Sooners against Aiden Finateri, who just worked a scoreless second inning, but like Malachi Witherspoon, he had to wait a long delay to get back to the mound thanks to the 32-minute rain delay. And then Alabama's work at the plate in the bottom of the second. To left field, Cade Snell, a running grab for the first out. Braden Horton's first at bat, he took over for Trey Gamble. Drew a walk, but looked uncomfortable during that at bat. Ultimately could not stay in the game to run at first base, and now Horton getting his first at bat for the Sooners. Horton, a transfer from Liberty. Started 45 games last year, 11 homers. Grounds out to Brendan Norton at second base, 2 gone. Finateri continues settling into this start.
Yeah, there's just something about the first. I really felt like the first 15, 20 pitches, he just didn't look like himself, was kind of frustrated with himself, and then all of a sudden something looked like he kicked in after that run scored, and then had a really nice second inning, has come back out even after that long delay like you just mentioned, Roger, and is attacking the zone and doing what he needs to do.
Two away for Easton Carmichael. Oklahoma catcher, a fly out to right field. His first trip to the plate, 2 hits this weekend. High and deep down the right field line, then a slice foul out of play. Finateri in front, 0-2.
That's one of those long, loud strikes. Hitter feels good about himself. Pitcher, you're like, all right, I'll give up a foul home run because that ball was crushed opposite field. Get 0-2 and have all the options you could imagine right here. In, out, up, down.
Went down.
Catcher wanted in, though. He was sliding in. Catcher Brady Neal was sliding in. Looked like he was going for the changeup, inside changeup, but he spiked it away. Again, got a lot to work with when you're up 0-2.
This is where the Sooners have been so good with 2 strikes, fouling away pitches, extending at bats all throughout the weekend, going back to Friday's start for Zane Adams against Oklahoma. Vinatieri strikes him out looking with the fastball.
Boy, Roger, 90 miles an hour shows you. Look at that. Just throw strikes. Just right down the heart of the plate. Misses the spot, but gets the result he wants.
Inning will start with Jason Torres at the plate. 3-run homer in the first, put Alabama in front 3-1. Crimson Tide just added a run in the second. It's making a 4-1 lead against Malachi Witherspoon. Torres picking up that home run for the Crimson Tide. First SEC homer. That's 7 home runs non-conference play. Evens 2-2 on Torres. Walk and a strikeout for Witherspoon today. Has also hit 2 batters. Crushed deep down the right field line and foul. Earlier, it was straightened out by Jason Torres to the right field Rangers in right field.
Very similar to the pitch. Is trying to go in. Witherspoon doesn't get either pitch in, and that's why Torres is able to put the barrel on it. He was able to keep this one fair and the 3-run home run, but that's been his struggle. He's trying to go in, and the fastball with the run, if he's able to get it in, he's all over the Alabama hitter's hands, but he's not being able to get that in. You saw one against LeBron, tried to go in, went middle. Justin LeBron doesn't swing, but this one right here, to me, like when you're looking now, it's lighter.
Taps a breaking ball to shortstop. Jackson Willits makes the play. We're seeing 2 of the better shortstops in SEC this weekend, in Justin LeBron and Jackson Willits.
You know, a lot of times it doesn't matter the stuff, right? You obviously would love to throw harder than anything, and you want that kind of stuff, but it's all about movement and placement and getting the pitches you want. And even at 96, if he's not throwing that fastball where he wants to, guys are still getting the barrel to it. And it's the opposite when you look at Aiden Vinatieri throwing 88 to 90, and he's getting outs because the placement is there. The command of the strike zone is even better.
Now Will Hodo trying to get it going this weekend. 0 for 10 at the plate. 5 strikeouts. Had some tough lefty on lefty matchups earlier this weekend. Veteran first baseman for the Tide. He was in the on-deck circle yesterday when Will Plattner made the final out, striking out looking. To another count. Grooved in for a strike.
Yeah, it'd been interesting to see if that ball, which looked a little bit maybe off the Plattner, if that would have been a walk. I mean, this with the late inning heroics that Will Hodo has just seemingly produced every single time he's in that opportunity. 5 home runs when he's able to take the lead. Would have liked to see him get a chance with the base loaded again.
Most notably hit the walk-off 3-run homer in Jacksonville to complete the Ohio State comeback second weekend of the year, and then go-ahead grand slam with a game tied game 2 at Texas A&M 2 weeks ago. Hodo sends a deep drive to left. This is well back and gone. Hodo with a solo shot makes it 5-1.
Roger, this is exactly what you think about a hitter, right? Put yourself in an advantage count. You got a guy throwing hard, so right, he's providing the velocity. 104 off the bat. Will Hodo, the hands stay in nicely. He knows that he can let that ball travel. He's strong enough to put it out the opposite field park, and he trusts his hands, trusts everything, and he's got himself a knock.
Alabama scored every inning against Malachi Witherspoon. Coleman Mizell. Mighty cut there of strike one.
Trying to do what the Yankees did, right? What, 3 straight pitches, 3 straight homers? Coleman Mizell took a hack. You've watched a lot of baseball. Have you seen anything like that? What the Yankees did yesterday? 9 home runs, 8 in the first 4 innings.
And everyone's talking conspiracy theories about their new bats that are
torpedo bats.
Yeah, a little more round in the middle near the barrel. Mizell will strike out here. 2 gone. But also, Yankee Stadium's still a great place to hit home runs.
The ball does fly there, but got another, I think, 3 again today. So it's a. There's going to be some research on the torpedo bats, no doubt. And if the research goes pretty well, I would safe to assume you're probably going to see 29 other teams at least trying it. But you're right, very hitter-friendly ballpark, Yankee Stadium.
Here's Brennan Norton. Taking just off the plate, struck out looking his first time up. That short porch in right field bite you any when you were a major leaguer?
I'm sure it did. I gave up my fair share of home runs. I do remember one in the old Yankee Stadium. A-Rod just took a cutter away, and it was
playable down the right field line for Horton. And he'll make the grab. That'll close the inning.
Yeah, they didn't want to hear the story. We can maybe get into it, but we got a good ball game right here. 5-1 Alabama going to the top of the fourth.
Good. You know, they didn't chase much. They made me work every at bat. Obviously, wasn't able to go as deep as I wanted, but you know, end of the day, I came out of the game and we had the lead, so I feel like I did my job.
Jackson Willet's first pitch swinging, a deep drive in the air to left. Cade Snell will make the grab on the warning track. Zane, what's the challenge of going up against a lineup like Oklahoma, knowing too they have a lot of speed on the base paths?
Yeah, I mean, that's always in the back of your mind. You got to be ready. You know, you can't get caught sleeping or anything. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just every at bat's a tough at bat with them. Yeah, it's a grind for sure.
Like Roger just mentioned, though, mentally, when you know they're on base, I think you probably picked, I want to say 20-something times. Does that get into your head? Because that's not usually the routine that you normally have of picking that often and that many times.
I mean, we work on that, and I mean, I felt like I was ready for that. We've been talking about it all week. So, I mean, mentally, I was prepared to pick off a million times and have to be quick to the plate and everything. So, yeah.
Taki with a pop-up. LeBron takes care of that. Now there are 2 gone here in this top of the 4th. We were pretty close to your hometown a couple weeks ago when Alabama took on the Texas A&M Aggies. How special was that start? It seemed like all of Porter, Texas was there to cheer you on.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. I remember not too long ago, I was sitting in the stands there. So it was cool to be on the field and, you know, have all those people out there to watch me, support me.
What else do we need to know about Zane Adams? What do you like to do away from the game of baseball? I know baseball now takes up a lot of the time, right? It's becoming almost like a full-time job. But what do you like to do when you're away from the game with your friends?
I would say I'm a slightly below average golfer. I like to golf a lot.
I'm more than slightly below average.
Yeah, what's the handicap, Zane?
I'm not sure. If I shoot under a 95, then I'm usually pretty happy.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
all
so
right.
that's a normal person playing golf. There you go.
Yeah.
Who's the best golfer on the team?
Don't tell him I said this. Hopefully he doesn't see this, but probably Hagen. He's pretty good.
Keep an eye out for Hagen Banks on the links. Well, sophomore season for you again. Great performances so far this year.
What are you looking forward to? 7 games, right? We're 7 starts in. The rest of the regular season, another 7. When you feel like, hey, what is going to take Zane Adams to the next level? What is Is it a certain pitch? Is it a certain command? What is it that's going to get you to that next level?
Probably just staying on the attack a little bit more and just landing all of my pitches. If there's a day where I can land all 5 of my pitches, then should have a pretty good day.
Well, that's the beauty of having 5, right, Roger?
Yeah, that's right.
Some are going to be there. If they're all 5 there, I can't wait to watch that one.
Yeah, me too.
Well, Zane, thank you so much for the time you've given us here in the top of the 4th. Best of luck. Your next start coming up against Auburn.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's Zane Adams, Crimson Tide sophomore left-hander who goes from being the Sunday starter as last year kind of emerged for Alabama and pressed into that role due to some injuries, but a great offseason for him, and he's been in the Friday night spot all year long.
Man, he didn't want to give Hagan Banks the props, right? Don't let him. Hope he doesn't see this. That's when you got to go like, didn't want the head to get big, maybe, or.
I mean, Hagan Banks active on social media. I think he'll hear that.
Yeah, I would assume so. Somebody's going to let him know, but that's not a bad thing, right? He said I was good at golf. Nothing has ever been said about me that's been good at golf.
Here's Sam Christensen. Kyle Branch, always a threat to steal. 10 for 10 on the base path this season. Crimson Tide trying to maintain a 4-run lead top of the 4th.
But he mentioned those 5 pitches, and that's what has basically had scouts excited about seeing him because he developed the cutter. The velocity is increased a little bit. And so when you start having that and you're going, hey, some guys have 2 pitches, right? You got 5 high-quality pitches, and all his pitches are above average. And so when you think about that, that is a starter at the next level, a guy who can get through the lineup multiple times because they have multiple pitches that they can attack with.
Brendan Norton will charge in and make the play. Christensen retired, and it's another scoreless inning by Finatieri. Alabama's scored every inning at the plate so far, building up a 5-1 lead as we work in the bottom of the 4th here at Sewell Thomas Stadium on this Sunday afternoon. Bryce Fowler in a good groove for the Crimson Tide, 4 for his last 5. Prior to that, Lance had been in that tough stretch, 1 for 32, where a lot of at-bats, he hit the ball hard. Notice that seeing Alabama's game on Tuesday in Huntsville against North Alabama.
Hit the ball hard, and then you look up and you're like, but coach, I'm still 0 for. Right, and that's what you see because you walk up and you see your average that was in the high 3s and now it was in the mid to low 200s, and you're like, well, your coach, you're saying I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not seeing the results. And so that's the toughest part mentally when it comes to a player. I mean, it's the same thing on the mound, right? You make a pitch, the guy gets a hit, and you're like, dang, I did everything I can. But that's when you know, hey, control what you can control, do what you can do, and everything else has to fall into place.
Tough mentally as well to go from being the leadoff hitter all throughout the year. You're hitting right in front of Justin LeBron to then move down to the order. We've seen him bat 9th, today batting 8th for the Crimson Tide. Seems like it's been a good reset for him, though. So roll that one to second, bobbled by Branch, and Fowler's aboard. That'll be an error on Kyle Branch at second base.
You know, I know this is an 0 for 1, right, as you're at bat, but it's still like you're still going positive, right? You're still affecting the team now. Like, and that's just what happens. And you're in that 1 for 32 slump. That's an easy play. Boom, you're out. You're going to go sit back down. But now you're active on the base pass. He's a guy that can run. And so things just start to happen. And that's why you got to be able to ride the ups and downs of a game. And that's why only the mentally tough can stay in this game longer.
Runner aboard for Brady Neal. First pitch swinging, a line drive to center. Neal and Fowler keep getting it done, bottom of the order.
Yeah, how about Brady Neal again, another guy that had been slumping a little bit. The average was under 200. Back-to-back knocks for Neal.
All smiles with Mike Morrison, the first base coach.
And his was a ground ball up the middle. That was an infield hit, right? Just something positive can get you out of that slump.
2 on, nobody out for the man. Now in the top spot of the order for the Crimson Tide, Richie Bonamolo Jr. Lays down the bunt on the grass, third base side. No play at any base. Bases loaded on the bunt single by Bonamolo.
This is a beauty. mean, he shows, he squares, he knows he's bunting. Give yourself up. But when you're this good of a punter, a sack turns into a knock. Richie Bonamolo Jr. out of the box again. He's just taking a peek, seeing what it looks like, knowing this ain't a play.
Skip Johnson coming out to speak with Malachi Witherspoon.
And you're thinking wet grass, that is perfectly, that gets on the dirt, there's a chance it can start rolling foul. It stays, what, a foot inside the line on the grass. Now you get the chance of a guy going to go hustle to get the ball. He might slip and fall. That was a beautiful bunt.
Bullpen activity has started for the Sooners with Witherspoon getting in some trouble. Bases loaded. Here is Jaden Barfield, the left-hander. Michael Catalano, the right-hander, getting loose. And top 5 in homers all throughout the year as well.
Well, if it wasn't for the two boys at Georgia that are ahead of him as well, I mean, it's amazing what Georgia's doing at the home run level. But LeBron, just from last year to this year, thinking he's already at the numbers, right? Think about all the expectation that's on you as a player like that, and when you hit the numbers that you did before the midseason point, it allows you to, like, hey, at least you can kind of breathe a little bit and take that pressure off of you.
Twelve homers, 37 RBI through a full season, 57 games. Everyday shortstop last year. Tremendous freshman All-American campaign. Look at what he's done as a sophomore.
I mean, just look at those power numbers. 25 home runs in his career already. And this was a guy that when he came in, they knew he was going to be a good player. But the first thing that was talked about Justin LeBron was, man, you got to see him play defense. This is it. This is this. You know, the arm, just the glove, how slick he is. When you see 25 home runs already at this young career, that's a special player.
Tide coaching staffs loved his approach to the plate, loved his work in the weight room as well. Missed just inside 2-2. Brett Price, strength and conditioning coach, deserves a lot of credit for LeBron getting stronger in the offseason, but his approach has been rock solid all throughout this sophomore campaign. Bases loaded and nobody out. Called third strike. Outer half of the plate, Witherspoon gets a strikeout when he needs it most.
Yeah, this is where you go to the well right here. The slider down and away perfectly. He'd been going in with the fastball, and you can see LeBron's reaction. You know you don't get opportunities like this, nobody out, bases loaded, to be able to blow open the game. This is how you knock out that starter. But Witherspoon staying in there, knowing there's a lot of outs left for his lineup. Got to keep it here, though.
Got to keep it going against Cade Snell. A walk and a fly out to left field for Cade Snell, captain of this team. Chop to the second baseman will bring in a run. RBI ground out for Cade Snell. We've seen a lot of that. That's now 3 RBI ground outs to second base in the last 2 games, Lance.
Yeah, and, you know, productivity, yeah, you take the RBI. I know if you talk to Cade Snell, though, he would say, look, I got to do better than that, right? I got to get that ball, you know, in the gap, and I got to blow up in the game, you know, because he's had the opportunities, but still doing the job, playing the game the right way. You'll take those runs any way you can get them.
Oh, 5-run lead and another opportunity for Jason Torres, who had a 3-run homer in the first inning that put Alabama in front. Crimson Tide have not looked back since then.
I think one of the best things you can say about the Crimson Tide offense is just its consistent and constant production, right? And it's always putting pressure on the opposing team and scoring runs every inning. That's obviously your ultimate goal. Is you want to score every inning, but you want to have the opportunity to score. So having guys on base like they have, and they're getting it done.
Torres taking a couple of breaking pitches inside and high to get ahead in the count 2-0. Offensively, Alabama, among the best in the nation. Top 10 in homers, runs, top 15 with the on-base percentage at .435. Line drive to right field. Horton can't get to it. 2-run score. Alabama keeps pouring it on at 8-1.
It's going to go down as an E9. The official score just knocked out, but it's a beautiful pitch, and that just shows you, like, when you're Kyson Witherspoon, right, you're going, hey, control the controllables. You make the pitch. Jason Torres, though, lines that ball to right field. What they always say in Little League, right? Put the ball in place, good things will happen. Exactly what happens, and we see another slip and fall with that wet grass.
Horton started the game on the bench, took over for Gamble. Son Harris was the starting right fielder. They moved him to left, and Horton took that spot in right field. Three-run bottom of the fourth for Alabama. Hodo, fresh off a home run his last time up. Crimson Tide first baseman Will Hodo. Eighth homer of the year for Hodo. Had 11 last year for the Crimson Tide. Called third strike on the fastball, and that'll close out the inning. Three-run score for the Crimson Tide. It's Alabama 8 and Oklahoma 1. Alabama just scored 3 runs in the bottom of the fourth to build the lead to 8-1 as we start the top of the fifth in Tuscaloosa. Roger Hoover, Lance Cormier now pleased to be joined by Kyson Witherspoon, the Friday night starting pitcher for the Oklahoma Sooners. We've seen his brother Malachi on the mound today. And first of all, Kyson, thank you for joining us. How have you enjoyed your junior season so far with the Sooners?
Hi, it's going. It's having a blast right now, honestly. Seeing all these cool parks, playing great teams, having a good time.
Well, guys, this is like, it's so crazy and weird, right, to think about you and your brother Malachi. Elite stuff, everything, but both are at the Division I level, high level, and also starting on the weekend in the SEC. What is it like for you guys, obviously, to play together, but also for you to be able to sit and watch him pitch like this?
Oh, that's a blessing, man. Growing up, playing on the same team, being able to do it this far along in our lives, it's just a blessing.
All right, go back this summer, USA baseball national team. Tell me about that, right? Most people don't get a chance to do that, but playing for your country, USA across your chest, how was that?
Oh, yeah, it's a dream come true. Grew up seeing everybody wants to be Team USA. That means you kind of made it there, but not trying to stop there.
Well, on that team, you got to play with Justin LeBron. How was that, getting to watch him and then now getting to compete against him?
No, that kid's a baller right there. He got me Friday, but I got him back a little bit. It is what it is. It's baseball, good swing.
You guys communicate after that, after the game on that one? Like, did he let you know, maybe a little snap or something to you?
Nah, we will after this series. I'll go say what's up to him, but not that day.
Well, for you, what's it like getting to work with your head coach? And he's been one of the best pitching coaches in all of college baseball the last 25 years, Skip Johnson.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. I love just the way he teaches. It really just blends with my type of style of learning, and I feel like we've gotten pretty far together.
All right. Kyson, for you, right? I mean, you've got the draft coming up this year, and obviously a top prospect. You know all about that, right? But what for you, when you look at, hey, what is professional baseball like? What is it that your game needs to do that you think about to go, hey, how can I go succeed at the next level?
I think just becoming more confident in my pitches, just both sides of the plate, throwing in any pitch in any count. And I think just competing at a next level is just going to bring my stuff up even more.
Hoping another team can both draft you and your brother as well. I mean, you guys have been together throughout this whole baseball journey.
Yes, sir.
It certainly would be nice to see. It's hard to split you guys up, right? Identical twins.
Yeah, we thought it was going to happen a bit earlier. Out of high school, we thought we were going different places, but we're here now. If it ends up happening in the major leagues, that'd be unreal.
All right, so close friend, your first base coach, Coach Todd Butler, was my coach, assistant coach.
Harris sending it into the gap, and a running catch made for the second out.
And he's like, look, they're identical. He goes, literally, they're identical. One of them has a freckle on their chin. That's the only way I can tell them apart. Who has the freckle?
That's Malachi. He's got a Vita mark under his lip. I got one. You can't see it because of the hat, but I got one on my forehead.
All right.
Good swing, Dash. Hi, baby.
Well, Kyson, thank you so much for the time you've given us here in the top of the fifth. Best of luck to you and the Sooners the rest of the year.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
It's Kyson Witherspoon, who's going to hear his name called pretty early coming up in the first round of the Major League Draft this summer, Lance.
Yeah, you're talking top 10, I would say, for sure. And when you hear Coach Johnson, Coach Butler, everybody that deals with the Oklahoma staff talks about these two young men, not just Kyson, but also Malachi. And you see the elite stuff, but they're that, he goes, they talk about how much better of a human being they are than their, the baseball side of things, which when you look at the baseball side of things, you're going, these dudes are elite. So you know they're such a good people. And he said, it's just fun to watch them and watch them go with each other. They push each other very well.
2 strikes on Jason Walk. Vinatieri, who's started this game back-to-back walks, allowed a run in the first inning. It's kind of been similar to Bobby Alcock yesterday, just finding ways to limit damage, post some zeros after that.
I see a lot of starters like that. It's almost like if you're going to get to certain starting pitchers, you better get to them early. And that just comes down to be Vinatieri's, bounce from the bullpen to the starting pitcher. So maybe he just didn't get as warm as he thought he needed to, but you'll start to learn.
Cade Snell and Bonamolo go all out trying to make that catch, but it's extra bases for Jason Walk, and he's getting the wave around third. He will score. Inside the park homer by Jason Walk. We'll step aside for a minute, then return to Tuscaloosa. While we were away, Richie Bonamolo Jr. able to get up on his own 2 feet, talking with athletic trainer Sean Stryker, the team doctor, Dr. Jeff Lobenthal, and Coach Vaughn. Scary moment here on that inside park home run when Bonamolo collided with Cade Snell just on the warning track in left center.
You start seeing him shaking his legs. They were feeling the legs, and so, yeah, it gets scary when you're not having feeling in certain extremities.
Round of applause by the fans. Crimson Tide players for Bonamolo. Here's he will be done for the day for the Crimson Tide. Cade Snell was also shaken up for a while before he was able to get back on his feet. Now Bonamolo coming out of this game for the Crimson Tide. Possibly Cade Snell as well.
Yeah, I'm watching right now, right in front of Bama's dugout. Brady Neal just took his gear off. You see Will Plattner putting his on. I think you might see Bryce Fowler move on to center field. Garrett Staten looks like he's got a glove.
Hope for all the best for Cade Snell and Richie Bonamolo Jr. after that collision. Garrett Staten will be coming in for Alabama, part of some of the changes that Rob Vaughn will have for this inning. Brady Neal joins the conversation, who had started this game behind the plate.
Neal showing the versatility. I didn't even know. I wonder if that's even his glove. Does he? I didn't know he played another position.
He will go to right field for the Crimson Tide. Garrett Staten will take over in left. Will Plattner will be the new catcher. He started the first 2 games of the series, been the primary catcher in SEC play for Alabama. During this time, Jason Jackson has had some bullpen activity, and it looks like that'll be it for Aiden Finatieri on the mound. With Braden Horton due up next, Alabama will have a pitching change to go along with a very new look Alabama defensive lineup and lineup at the plate. Matthew Heiberger, the left-hander, will be taking over for the Crimson Tide. A 8-2 score, Crimson Tide leading in Tuscaloosa. First man out of the bullpen today, Matthew Heiberger for the Crimson Tide. Sophomore out of Birmingham's Oak Mountain High School. Heiberger's heard his name called a lot now, his 11th appearance out of the pen this year. 2-1, a 3.21 ERA, and Lance not just a lefty-on-lefty specialist. He can give Alabama some length on the mound.
Yeah, he really is a guy that has been the go-to high leverage guys, right? You got about 3 or 4 of those. Heiberger's been the left-hander out of the bullpen for Alabama. Fastball 90 to 93, and it's a lot of fastballs. It's 80% fastball, the usage, so it's a guy that believes in the fastball. There's a little funk behind it, so you're thinking, hey, a little deception here, a little deception there, but it's fastball. When he goes to it, it is a slider, but he also has the changeup to the right-handed hitters.
So he's the new pitcher on the mound for Alabama. He'll be taking on Braden Horton, the right fielder. He himself was a defensive sub. Garrett Staten takes over in left field, Brady Neal in right. Will Plattner behind the plate, part of all the changes, and Bryce Fowler moving from right field to center field. And the first pitch without the BGs, inside for a ball.
Yeah, the operations department really was loving the song. Went through a whole pitch and almost the second pitch and still with the music rolling.
Disco is alive.
You know, a lot of times you'll see the umpire look back. You had LeBron waving his arms, second base umpire David Savage was, I mean, everybody was looking around like, hey guys, what's going on here? Staying alive.
Horton a miscatch in right field earlier. He grounded out to second on his first at bat in the 3rd inning. Strikeout for Heiberger on a fastball at 92, and this inning is over. Inside the park homer for Jason Walk has changed things for the Tide, but still up 8-2. Crimson Tide 8, Oklahoma Sooners 2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th on this Sunday afternoon in Tuscaloosa. Still Malachi Witherspoon on the mound. He's hoping to join a very exclusive list. His brother's certainly in line. Kyson Witherspoon to become a first-round pitcher that has been tutored by Skip Johnson. Very notably, Clayton Kershaw leads the list. I also called a few of Taylor Youngman's starts when he was in college. Dominant.
Yeah, Cade Norton was one of the guys that is a football player for OU that Coach Johnson got a hold of him, and then he was on that team that went to the College World Series finals. But talking with Coach Johnson, there's other names on there that call him. Homer Bailey, remember that guy, Cincinnati Reds, right? He was first round and everything. Said he called him in the middle of a game. He's like, what are you doing? It's the 5th inning. Why are you calling me? He goes, Coach, the catcher, he goes, get off the phone. Don't ever call me during the game again. Go do this, and we'll talk later. But you talk about ultimate respect from these guys. They call him to get that kind of knowledge, right? And he says, so he goes, I got to sit, after these games, I got to go home and I got to watch some of these guys starts because they're going to call me and they're going to expect me to have some kind of information to tell them. So he still stays in touch with a lot of those guys that he's coached before in the past, and very instrumental in not only their success to get where they're at, but also to stay where they're at.
Shot foul by Mizell, 1 and 2. So a lot of that would be, yes, they'll send some video. He'll take a look and see what they're doing. Is a lot of it just mindset or more mechanics?
Well, both, right? He's the guy that does that. And you can see with Kershaw, he talked about that, of just working with him and keeping certain things mechanically, right? Because some guys it is mechanical, some guys it is mental. And that's the whole part. And the best coaches know when to go where. And that's the whole part. Sometimes guys will go mechanical when it's really not a mechanical thing. It's all in the guy's mentality or confidence.
Witherspoon, who's, of course, given up 8 runs today, strikes out Mizell. That's got to be such a huge selling point for Coach Johnson in recruiting. Look at who I've talked to. Look who I'm still talking to that's performing well at the major league level.
Oh, but he'll downplay it. He won't let you talk about it. He'll downplay it. So no, because
bring up a hunting story.
Right. Yeah. You talk about pitching gurus, stuff like that, and he's like, no. I've worked with good players, and that's what the coaches do, right? Deflect off of them and put it onto their players.
Brennan Norton 0 for 2 so far in this ball game. Seven on the fastball, 74 pitches in. Again, very similar to what we saw from Kyson Witherspoon when he worked deep in the ball game in the 4th, deep in his pitch count on Friday.
I just love the fact when you watch both of them, it's like you can't tell when you watch them pitch how it's going, whatever it is. You couldn't tell if he's right now got a shutout or he's given up those 8 runs. And I know 5 of them are unearned. He's got some bad luck. But that's what you would want as a coach. I want to walk into the stadium. I was always taught, look, a fan walks in the 4th inning, he shouldn't be able to tell who's winning if he's watching you, because that's just how you're supposed to play. So he's not riding that emotional roller coaster. And I love the fact that he's still out here, wants the ball in a game like this. Most guys would want to be out of that game.
Froze him on the slider. 3 strikeouts in a row for Malachi Witherspoon.
And a lot of times these good coaches know exactly what to do, right? Keep him out there. And you just mentioned, Roger, being able to get on a roll, 3 straight strikeouts, because this allows, if he finishes off this inning and maybe they switch whatever, you leave the outing on a positive note. And that's the mentality that it takes. We've talked about that with Bryce Fowler, just doing something positive as a hitter, trying to feel that out, right? Well, how that's affected him. And look, he's still continued to produce. Pitchers need the same thing.
Fastball to the backstop against Bryce Fowler. Doubled back in the 2nd inning. Reached on an error last time up, and that opened the door for Alabama's 3-run 4th. Balls and a strike on Bryce Fowler from Malachi Witherspoon, trying to close out this bottom of the 5th. And twin brothers raised by their mom Meg in Jacksonville, Florida. We have pointed out that everyone talks about their manners away from the field. Yes, sir, no, ma'am. Two great competitors we've seen this weekend in Tuscaloosa. Bryce Fowler will extend the inning, getting hit by the pitch.
That's the second one today, Roger. Back foot slider, and it's a little too much on the back foot. You see right on the instep. He hit Coleman Mizell with the same pitch. And that's, I mean, the adjustment is so small when it comes to backing it off just a little bit where it's in the perfect spot to that one. And that's the tough part, trying to find exactly where that adjustment is needed to be made. Alabama team's taking some lumps this whole weekend.
Our whole weekend
today,
go back to LeBron on Friday.
right?
Brady Neal started this game catching for the Crimson Tide, now in right field. Two for two at the plate in his second SEC start this season for the Crimson Tide. Still plenty of experience in his first 2 years at LSU. Transferring over to the Crimson Tide. Around 2-2. Alabama scored in every inning against Witherspoon, in danger of a scoreless bottom of the fifth here. Branch over Witherspoon there just in time for the out to close out the inning. Witherspoon posts a 0 here in the bottom of the fifth.
Keeps on winning. Yes, they do.
Richie Bonamolo Jr. was evaluated by the training staff. He is back in the game in center field. We speculate that he was checked for concussion protocol and then able to re-enter. We've seen that in recent years in college baseball, notably Jim Jarvis, that happened with him for Alabama in the SEC tournament a few years ago. Good to see that Bonamolo was able to continue in this game after he and Cade Snell had a tough collision on the inside the park home run by Jason Walk.
And the fact that he's back so quickly, now we're going to have to figure out the lineup, right? Plattner was on deck. There we go.
So with that, changes for the Crimson Tide. Will Plattner is remaining in this ballgame as the catcher. He had originally taken the spot of Bonamolo in the batting order. Hadn't gotten to that spot in the order just yet. Plattner will now bat third. That was originally Cade Snell's spot in the order. Garrett Staten took that spot defensively and at the plate over, but now he's out of the game as Bonamolo will be challenged right away by Carmichael, and he makes the play.
Coach Rob Vaughn's got to get creative when it comes down to it, because basically he feels like there's really only two catchers. And so when you have to deal with that, obviously that's why you can't take Plattner out, because then you take him out, he's gone, and Brady Neal, if something happens, takes a foul tip. So that's why it was surprising to me that Plattner came in and not somebody else. That way you save your second catcher.
Going with just two catchers, always a risk. I've heard that Brennan Norton could be an emergency catcher for the Tide. Also, JoJo Williamson could be a guy that could factor in if Alabama had to go that direction. JoJo Williamson, talented freshman from Hartselle. We'll see him at some point in his Crimson Tide career, whether in the infield, who knows, maybe catch down the road. Heiberger got the final out of the fifth. Clean inning to work with here in the sixth inning as he works against Jackson Willits, a switch hitter who will bat from the right side against the lefty. 3 runs driven in this weekend for Willits, the son of the associate head coach, Major League veteran Reggie Willits. Strikeout for Heiberger. Went back to the heat at a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
This is how you elevate the heater. Oh, my bad. I thought it was a little higher than that. That's just straight cheese right by you. Willits doesn't look comfortable in the right-handed batter's box as he does in the left-hander's batter's box. The average is higher, but there's something about it this weekend that he just doesn't look comfortable seeing the pitches.
Dayton Taki, a mighty cut, strike 1. Quiet game for him so far. It's been a loud weekend. Going 3 for 8 with a home run in the first 2 games. Heiberger quickly in front, 0-2. Sky to right center. Bonamolo and Fowler over. It will be Bonamolo. Welcome back, Richie. He makes the catch to close out the inning. 1-2-3 go the Sooners in the 6th. Bottom of the 6th, 6-run advantage for the Crimson Tide as Alabama was able to pick up 5 earned runs against Malachi Witherspoon. Some miscues defensively for the Sooners, helping Alabama build up this 8-2 lead. The big home run was by Jason Torres, a 3-run shot in the first. We've also seen an inside the park homer by Oklahoma's Jason Walk in this game. Malachi Witherspoon's been on the mound, but now he'll give way to Michael Catalano, freshman right-hander from Frisco, Texas, that will take over on the mound. He's been warming up the last 2 innings. Now he gets an opportunity here against the Crimson Tide.
Talented freshman, 92 to 95 with the fastball. A lot of punch outs, 16 punch outs in less than 10 innings. But it's a guy coming in this high leverage situation. Slider, curveball as well. A lot of talented freshmen on this OU team.
Richie Bonamolo Jr. again evaluated after that tough collision with Cade Snell on the inside the park homer in the top of the 5th. He is now back to bat in the bottom of the 6th inning. And will be evaluated, checked out for what we believe is concussion protocol, and then able to re-enter, something we've seen in college baseball in the last few years. Last time up, a bunt single by Bonamolo helped load the bases for the Crimson Tide. 3-run bottom of the 4th against Witherspoon. Fastball dips low to make a 2-ball, 1-strike count to Bonamolo. Native of the Bronx, New York, went to Wabash Junior College. Great success there, joining the Crimson Tide this season. Sends it into left center. There's Harris. Lost his footing, but made the grab. Deshaun Harris.
He's getting a good laugh on it because this could have gone bad. You see, he got a beat on it, then all of a sudden he loses his footing, but man, right placement, and finished it off with a roll.
Wet grass from the 30-minute rain delay has impacted really infield, outfield, just all parts of today's game. LeBron skies the first pitch high and deep to center field. Right up against the wall for Jason Walk. He's got it.
This might be one of the most athletic teams I've watched, Roger. They have athleticism everywhere. Jason Walk is another one of those guys. We saw Deshaun Harris, his recovery last at bat, but how about that closing in? That's a tough play into the bullpen. But talking with Coach Todd Butler for OU, he said this is the most athletic team he's really been a part of, and this is a guy that's been 30 years in coaching.
Will Plattner, first at bat of the game, originally spotted Cade Snell, then Garrett Staten was scheduled to bat third. Plattner was scheduled to hit for Bonamolo, who's able to return. So Plattner ends up going in the third spot of the order. If you're scoring at home today, good luck.
About to say,
It's been tough to keep up with. Shot foul by Plattner, 1-2. Catalano trying to set down the Crimson Tide in order, something that's not happened so far today. Slider just missed, 2-2.
When you say just miss, the third baseman, shortstop, left fielder, second base, center fielder, and pitcher all were running toward the dugout. He thought he nailed that pitch. Anthony Perez said, nope, get back out there.
That didn't miss. Fastball at 92 ends the inning. 1-2-3 go the Crimson Tide against Michael Catalano. Win today gives Alabama the series. Would put the Crimson Tide at 6-3 through the first 9 games of conference play. A loss wouldn't be devastating to Oklahoma at all. At 5-4, these teams came into the weekend even in the standings, splitting the first 2 games on Friday and Saturday. Kyle Branch leading off the 7th inning against Matthew Heiberger. Four outs in a row for Heiberger since he took over for the starter, Aiden Finatieri. Maybe fans are worried about becoming a true full bullpen game for Alabama. Finatieri allowing a run in the first. Did allow another run in the 5th inning on the inside the park home run, but Crimson Tide pitching staff settled in very nicely, and only 2 pitchers as this game has moved to the top of the 7th. Not bad at all for Alabama. All about positioning this time of the year. First half of conference play. Today, wrapping up the 3rd weekend. A look at the conference standings. Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, obviously all off to great starts. We'll see what Arkansas can do later on against Vanderbilt. Then you have LSU and Ole Miss, and the Crimson Tide trying to match the Rebels, improving to 6-3 to begin the year. Sam Christensen ahead in the counts, 1-0. Now 2-0.
Live, I thought this was a swing. Ooh, and I think I was right. They even appealed it. No swing.
Alex Ransom on the appeal, who was the home plate umpire yesterday. Base hit in front of the runner. Christensen aboard. Now 2 on for the Sooners. Lance, still a lot of baseball to play. 6-run game, top of the 7th.
Oh. Sunday baseball, yeah, 9 outs to go. Definitely a lot of outs left, a lot of baseball.
Pitching coach Jason Jackson, the associated head coach for the Tide, coming out. Speak with Heiberger. Colson Buchanan has been warming up for the Crimson Tide. Now the call of bullpen will be made as the Crimson Tide turning the baseball over to Colson Buchanan. 2 on for the Sooners with nobody out. And here comes Buchanan on the mound for Alabama. Only in its 3rd weekend as Colson Buchanan takes over on the mound for the Crimson Tide, trying to keep the Sooners where they are at 8-2 the score. We're in the top of the 7th inning. Buchanan a 1.13 ERA, some good success for him so far to start this season for Alabama. But Lance, you pitched 4 years at Alabama. You went through the grind of those 10 straight weekends, 4 years. I mean, how tough is it to just stay present in the moments when it can feel like this season can drag on forever?
It is, and you have to take each weekend as its own separate thing, right? Because you go in there, you attack it, right? Hey, you either win the series or you lose the series, but then you have to move on, right? You have to forget about that, go there now. I think it's way more of a grind now than it ever was, because the depth, and that just dictates basically the investment in the programs throughout the entire SEC, and then obviously what they just talked about, Jace Laviolette adding Texas, Oklahoma, or maybe it was Kendall Diggs saying that, but you're going, those are 2 high-level programs that you added that just made it that much harder. So it's definitely more of a grind than when we were there. It still was a top-notch conference. So there's a couple times the SEC had gotten 4 teams in Omaha, but now it seems like that's almost a regular basis.
Pitching change made with Buchanan in against Dawson Willis, 3rd baseman who's been a pest all weekend long to Alabama getting on base. That's what the Sooners need now to try and rally back top of the 7th, down by 6. Popped up down the right field line. Long chase into the crowd, though.
Colson Buchanan, fastball is 88 to 90, slider change, curveball, and biggest thing for him, and you've seen more success this year, is he's going back to throwing that curveball, something they had got away from last year. And then Jason Jackson talked about it. He's like, hey, that's the pitch that got you to us. That's why we wanted to get you and got away from it. So go back to on your bread and butter.
And last year, 7.36 ERA during his time on the mound for Alabama. Only worked 29 1/3 innings prior to that. 2 years at Wofford, where he's all Southern Conference 2nd team as a sophomore. Mostly a starter for the Terriers. Fastball just outside, 2-2. Payoff pitch. Knocked foul, do it again. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Roger, this seems like one of those momentum at bats, right? You got 2 guys on, nobody out. If you're able to just get an out, right? Because Bama's going to trade an out for maybe production on, moving some positivity guys up on the base pass. But you're just trying to get an out to get part of those, because there's only 9 left.
And it's a walk to load the bases with no one out in the Oklahoma top of the 7th. Base is full of Sooners with no one out, trailing by 6 runs, and Deshaun Harris steps in. 0 for 2 today, 0 for 4 on the weekend. Chop to first. Hodo will go to second base. One out there, and also a run will score for Oklahoma as Branch crosses the plate, and that makes it 8-3. Two on now with one out, a runner at third and first as the top of the order comes back to the plate. Buchanan gets in front, 1-2. Even count 2-2 to Jason Walk.
Back-to-back changeups. The first one was phenomenal. That one was really good. I mean, that's what you're thinking. A little bit lower, right at the same speed. Jason Walk does a great job of laying off it after the swing and miss on the one previous.
Challenged him inside, and the strikeout. 2 gone.
Huge pitch right here for Colson Buchanan. You get a guy in swing plus mode. That's exactly what this is. Slider down and in, not a good pitch. Jason Walk kept looking at Anthony Perez and he didn't go, and I think he might have actually had a little argument.
No appeal made. Here is Horton. First pitch fastball for a strike. Horton 0 for 2 since he entered. This is the spot of Trey Gamble, who had played well this weekend against Alabama. Came out with some discomfort in the first inning when he drew a walk.
It's been a different game. Think of the injuries that we've had. Obviously, we think of the Alabama ones, but I forgot about Trey Gamble's.
Gamble had been 3 for 7, driving in a run, and just seemingly always on base this weekend. Line drive to center for a base hit. Christensen scores. The throw going to third base. Tag applied. Safe the call. 2 in scoring position with 2 gone for the Sooners. RBI single by Horton makes it 8-4.
Beautiful little inside out. Line drive over the shortstop's head, and misses a huge 2-out hit. Thought Alabama was going to get out of it, only one, and Richie Bonamalo Jr. strong throw. Don't know why you're seeing Harris go. You got second base, right? You don't want to make the third out, especially in the inning. You're scoring some runs, but knows his speed, gets there, and allows Horton to get to second base as well. So now you got 2 guys scoring position, 3-hole hitter up.
See what Jason Jackson wants to do. Either stick with Buchanan on the mound. There's been some bullpen activity as well for Alabama. 2-run top of the 7th for the Sooners, getting Oklahoma back into striking distance, and Mason Carmichael due up next. Beyond him, Jackson Willits looming. So Tyler Fay, hard-throwing right-hander, he'll be summoned from the Crimson Tide bullpen. Sunday game tightening up a bit, top of the 7th inning. It's Alabama with an 8-4 lead, and Tyler Fay will be on the mound when we return. Two runs have scored for Oklahoma in the top of the 7th inning to make it an 8-4 ball game with 2 outs here in the 7th. So the game's starting to tighten up just a bit. Alabama will go to the bullpen, and it will be Tyler Fay taking over on the mound. Redshirt sophomore from Doniphan, Nebraska. This will be his first appearance this weekend for the Crimson Tide. He's been 1-0 this season with a 3.45 ERA, and Lance, he throws hard.
Yeah, he's a guy that can give you some length out of the bullpen, so kind of be that bridge to possible closer. Mr. Osmer, but yeah, you're right. Hard thrower, 91-ish to 95, maybe a little bit, but it's also coming from that 3/4 arm slot, steps across his body, so it makes it a tough at bat for a right-handed hitter. Mix in a slider and change up as well. You know, they're looking for a lot of consistency with Tyler Fay. He's a guy with stuff-wise that you're going, hey, like, he could be a high-leverage guy, possibly even a starter with just the stuff that he has. But a lot of it comes down to consistency in the strike zone.
Started the year with 6 consecutive outings where he did not allow an earned run. Has given up earned runs in his last 3 outings for Alabama. He's pitched every weekend in SEC play against Texas A&M, Tennessee, and now against Oklahoma. Starts Carmichael with a fastball for strike 1. Carmichael hitless in 3 at-bats today. 2 for 11 this weekend. Back-to-back fastballs for strikes.
Well, you can see why there was a lot of excitement coming into this year, especially after a great year in the Cape Cod League for Tyler Fay. The stuff is there. Again, once you get consistent, if he starts attacking his zone like that, 95 with some movement, you get a lot more innings.
Carmichael, a .351 hitter with 2 outs this year, .371 with men in scoring position. Nearly hit Carmichael. 2-2 the count on the first breaking ball we've seen.
Yeah, that breaking ball got out of his hand, and you can see the Carmichael was going, I should have taken it.
Now all 4 umpires will talk things over after Rob Vaughn came out to speak to home plate umpire Anthony Perez.
We need a microphone. That way when the coaches go out there and talk to the home plate umpire, we know what he's saying. Because right now it's all speculation.
Thinking about a check swing. He barely pivoted the shoulders.
I don't know. That's one of those.
It's the best way to sum it up.
That's one of those. The emoji, like with the hands up. I don't know.
2-2. Fouled away. We'll do it again. Back to a fastball after back-to-back breaking balls.
I don't think Easton Carmichael knows. He kind of looked around like, what are we doing? All I did was get out of the way from my head.
Sooners down by 4. 2 in scoring position with 2 gone. Top of the 7th inning. Fastball lined into right field. Fowler comes on. Fowler makes the catch for Alabama. Earlier today, this is really a game-saving catch by Bryce Fowler, and so some different styles. Robbing a home run and then a sinking line drive when you're moving in towards the infield, that's really tough, Lance.
Yeah, you're right. Right. That was a momentum changer, making that catch. You saw Tyler Fay kind of walk off the rim like, woof.
Well, Jason Torres, his main highlight's been with the bat so far in this ball game. A 3-run homer off Malachi Witherspoon in the first. Put Alabama in front 3-1, kind of changed tone of this ball game. Alabama's led ever since. Just off the mound, Catalano keeps getting outs for the Sooners 4 in a row since he came in for the bullpen.
That's what you're wanting to do. When you're down 6 runs, the bullpen comes in, right? Your one job is to just keep it there. Allow an offense to see what they can do. Showed a little promise last inning, getting 2 runs, chipping away. You still have 6 outs to go, but anytime the offense can, the home team now, if they answer back, that almost just takes all that momentum away from your lineup.
James Hitt, who was tough against Will Hodo a couple nights ago on Friday, he'll be coming in to take on the Crimson Tide first baseman when we return in a few moments. It's still the Crimson Tide with an 8-4 lead against the Sooners here in Tuscaloosa. Crimson Tide with an 8-4 lead. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Alabama trying to pick up a series win against the Oklahoma Sooners and what would be a top 10 series victory against 9th-ranked Oklahoma. Crimson Tide just behind in the polls at number 12. James Hitt taking over on the mound for Oklahoma. He came out of the bullpen and was able to throw 2 innings, only allowed a run on 3 hits, had 1 walk, 5 strikeouts against the Crimson Tide on Friday, and he was especially good against left-handed batters for Alabama, including Will Hodo, who will be due up next. And now these two meet again after Hodo struck out against him twice on Friday night.
Yeah, he's a tough left-handed at bat, right? Guy's going to be up to 93, but it really is the off-speed pitch. And that's one of those where he's a little across his body, and so as a left-handed hitter, that ball seems like it's coming from behind you, and he's able to go glove side with 93, so you got to respect it, and then also respect that breaking ball. So it's a tough AP versus a left-handed hitter.
Raindrops starting to fall once again in Tuscaloosa. Not nearly as strong as what led to the 32-minute delay we had between the top and bottom of the 2nd inning. Still some fans going for cover, or the poncho, or the umbrella. Now the most popular seats, the ones at the very top of the upper grandstand, under the large roof here at Sewell Thomas Stadium. Here's Will Hodo. One for 3 today, 1 hit on the weekend. That solo home run off Malachi Witherspoon to left field back in the 3rd. Base hit right field. Hodo wins the battle, and lefty on lefty with James Hitt. That's a 1-out single for the Crimson Tide.
Oh, you know that feels good for that left-hander, right? They bring in the lefty to face you. You put yourself in a beautiful count. You get the fastball. You see Hodo check him out as he's going to first base. Like, hey, I know your one job was to come in and get me, and I ain't letting you do it.
Coleman Mizell next to the plate. Crimson Tide DH. Another lefty hitter for Alabama's had a fair share of strikeouts, looking for his first hit this weekend against the Oklahoma pitching staff. Chopper into the overshift. Sooners will go to second for 1 to first. Mizell beats it out. That is tricky in that shift, Lance.
Yeah, that ended up being the old 6-5 to 3 almost double play. But when you got a guy like Willits at shortstop, he could be second, and Dawson Willis is the third baseman that could be playing shortstop. So works for them, but still, I didn't think he had a shot. Then all of a sudden, he turns, fires, strong arm. If Mizell's not hustling, that is a double play.
Two away for Brennan Norton. Swinging a miss at a fastball to the Crimson Tide second baseman throughout this ball game. Also played yesterday at second base after coming off the bench on Friday. Hit in front, no balls, 2 strikes. Fastball struck him out swinging. Hit with a scoreless 7th inning to get the final 2 outs and keep this game only a 4-run contest to the 8th. A&M Wildcats in front, trying to close out the series with a series win on the road. 2 teams that went to the College World Series a year ago. Maybe not off to the starts they would like to begin conference play.
Yeah, when you look at that going, Kentucky wasn't projected where A&M was, so it's not, as you would say, disappointing for Kentucky. But still, when you get your first trip to Omaha, you want to come back and put up some good results, kind of keep that momentum going on the recruiting trail and everything. And yeah, both teams are struggling early on.
Jackson Willits with a foul tip a moment ago. RBI single for him earlier in the 1st inning. Offensive conference.
Yeah, I mean,
getting to talk to Dad.
I was about to say, is Dad going like, hey, are you hurt? Like, what is it? Or is it a little talk production? Talking with Coach Johnson earlier about that, he goes, there's nobody harder on him. He goes, that's who he's the hardest on, and I wouldn't expect anything more as a dad, but he goes, that's the only time I jump in. He goes, sometimes I'll see it, and it's affecting me a little bit, and I'll have to go in there and be the head coach to him. But
what a great career for Reggie Willits. First of all, a star at Oklahoma, then time in the majors with the Angels, and then some minor league coaching as well, time with the New York Yankees organization. Jackson shoots that foul. 1-2, now getting to coach his son at Oklahoma.
And Coach Johnson raves on just the way he runs an offense and just the approach and how he handles these guys. And you can see it. I mean, a top 10 program being run by him.
Just outside from Tyler Fay, 2-2. Fay got the out he needed on that line outs to right fielder. Bryce Fowler made a nice catch to close out the 7th. Strand 2 in scoring position. Now this is pulled to Norton, who slides, knocks it down, and can't throw to first. Willits will beat it out. Single for Jackson Willits starts the 8th.
Another slippery field gets him. I thought Norton still had a shot when he grabbed it, but he feels like he doesn't. I mean, you got a guy that can run out of the box, especially on the left side, and Willits, but we've seen it on both sides now, slipping and falling and costing the team.
Dayton Taki Put Oklahoma in front in the 8th inning on Friday with a 2-run homer. Right now, the Sooners still trailing 8-4, only one man on base, but a great opportunity for him. Quiet in this game, 0 for 3.
Go right back to that pitch he just threw. That was a nasty slider on the inside part of the plate, just disappeared.
Great movement, just flowing outside, 1-2. Fastball is crushed high and deep to right field, and Taki is homered again in Tuscaloosa. 2-run shot to right makes it a 2-run game. Have a weekend, Dayton, Taki.
Some late inning heroics too. It was the 8th inning in the first game, and we got another 8th inning shot. He just likes to hit in the 8th inning. 2-run blast, another one. The slider, and then all of a sudden it's fastball, inner third. You got to get in a little bit more. Dayton Taki drops the head. And just chipping away. This Sooner offense is not going away easily.
Still nobody out this inning as Kyle Branch steps in. Lays down a bunt, third base side, that'll trickle foul. It was Branch that got it going in the last inning with a leadoff walk against Matthew Heiberger. Barreled to center field. Bunamolo with a running grab for out number 1.
Next up to that, designated hitter, number 40, Sam Christensen.
Jason Jackson, the pitching coach out for Alabama. There's been bullpen activity with Carson Osmer and Braylon Myers, who have both closed out games for Alabama this year. Osmer's been the main closer, worked for Alabama in Friday night's game. Helped secure the victory for the Tide. See what Alabama wants to do. Tyler Fay working here in the 8th, just gave up a 2-run homer.
Jason Jackson saw the way he approached Taki as the left-handed hitter, and you got another big one coming up, so he's going to make the move.
Alabama was up 8-1 after the 4th inning, but the Sooners have scored 4 runs since then. Braylon Myers will answer the call. Senior from Bessemer will take over what has become a 2-run ball game. The Crimson Tide 8 and the Oklahoma Sooners 6. Moment ago, Dayton Taki with a 2-run blast. He has loved hitting here at Sewell Thomas Stadium. That line drive just going out of the ballpark in a hurry to cut Alabama's lead in half, making an 8-6 score, top of the 8th inning. Taki talking with Coach Willits, who I imagine has liked everything he's seen from him so far this weekend. 4 hits, driving in 5 runs for the Sooners. Now it's Braylon Myers on for the first time for Alabama this week, or the second time, beg your pardon, for Alabama this weekend.
It was an intense talk, like he did something wrong. He said, Coach, I just knocked one out of the park, right? Yeah, Braylon Myers, guy's been in so many high leverage situations, and he's become the what you would say, setup guy, right? Secondary closer for Alabama, 12th appearance. Punch outs have increased over the years, and so has the stuff, up to 91, 92 mile an hour on the fastball. Not afraid to mix in any off-speed pitch, though, at any point of the count.
Like he does for strike one to Sam Christensen. Always has had pretty good control of the fastball, but now locating the off-speed pitches in the strike zone has been the key for him. Fastball looked good there, 0-2.
I think a lot of it is, too, is the belief in the fastball. Now that he knows he's throwing a little bit harder, up to 92 on that last one, going, hey, my fastball's better than I thought, and he believes in it more, and he hasn't just gone to the all-speed to get the outs. In past years, teams have sat on the off-speed pitch, and so if it's not perfect, they tend to get to it. And so now being able to get guys out and trusting it with the heater has made it better.
Stays off speed as the count goes 2-2. Sam Christensen. Single last time up, part of the 2-run 7th. It's been a 2-run top of the 8th already. Hammers the fastball for a called third strike.
If those breaking balls don't work, guess what? This one does. Fastball outer third, perfectly placed. Sometimes you don't have to go to that off-speed pitch. Hitter shows you he's taking it. He's sitting on something.
Two away, no one on base. Dawson Willis, third baseman at the plate. Drew a walk last time up. Foul tip for strike. Fastball popped up. Foul territory. Plattner, the catcher, give way to Torres. Torres with a grab, inning over. Sooners get 2 in this top of the 8th, but it's Alabama still with a 2-run advantage to the bottom of the inning. It's been a rainy afternoon here in Tuscaloosa. Raindrops even falling now. We had a 32-minute rain delay in the middle of the 2nd, but it's been an entertaining ball game that, Lance, you knew even with Alabama up 8-1, you knew the Sooners would fight back in this game.
Well, no, this is the makeup of both these ball clubs. They fight till the end. The lineup has some depth, so it really doesn't matter if you're at the top or the bottom. They're going to do some damage, and that's exactly what Oklahoma has done lately, right? And it's a team that's comfortable playing in tight ball games, and a lot like Alabama. I really think these two teams are very, very similar, and I think both these teams are going to be playing a long time, right? I think they're going to make some good runs into the conference, also conference tournament, into regional play.
Bryce Fowler, Brady Neal, Richie Bonamola Jr. all due to the plate. First pitch swinging, Bryce Fowler lines it. Harris can't make the grab. Fowler with his speed on his way to second. Safe. Double by Fowler leads off the bottom of the 8th.
Bryce Fowler just continues to rake. I mean, look, inside outset swing, and that's what he's done a little bit today, right? He had that double down the line. Another slip and fall. It's amazing what the rain has done to the defenders. So now you're thinking as a pitcher, I just got to make a strikeout or hopefully a pop fly in the infield.
Brady Neal, who started the game at catcher, a throw to second goes wild. Fowler will stick at second base. Think about what the bottom of the order is done. Think about what a weekend like this can do for Bryce Fowler moving forward.
It really does. And I think he slides in well. That's where he fits at the top of the order, right? So he's a guy that needs to be at the top of the order, I think, for Alabama's lineup. But Coach Vaughn did a great job of sliding him down, getting some confidence, getting him back into it. But you talk about just the base running, the athleticism he can do right in front of Justin LeBron. So, yeah, it's been a great weekend for him.
Crimson Tide will use an offensive conference to talk everything over. Everyone getting together for the Sooners on the mound as a result. Crimson Tide trying to win the series. You mentioned two teams that are going to be pretty even. It seems like, of course, the makeup on paper, the results so far this year. Sometimes you never know. A series like this could determine some rankings coming up towards the end of the season, how the selection committee views whether or not one team's an 8 seed or a 9 seed, and that's everything when you get thinking about super regionals or even 15, 16, 17 trying to host a regional.
Right, or even when, let's go a little bit before that, right? Conference tournament.
Sure.
You have teams that are going to get buys in the new format, and that's something that's, hey, one game could dictate that. But you're right. Coach Vaughn talked about the difference in 13 wins, which would almost guarantee you into the postseason, and the difference in 16 wins, which means you're guaranteed to almost host.
Pop up down the left field line, finally to the crowd.
Talked a little bit about it yesterday in the game. I think that number, it is 13, which the coaches feel good about. I think that number drops to 12 even. I mean, when you think about the 13 of the 16 teams have been ranked in the conference trying to go through a 10-week thing, and you get 12 wins. I know that's really 2 wins more than one a weekend, but it shows you when you're playing the 1, the 2, the 3. At one point, you had 4 of the top 5 teams in the conference, and if you have all of those on your schedule, getting 1 win a weekend is great.
The second base branch will make the play, but it also advances Bryce Fowler to third base. Productive ground out for Brady Neal. Win today would get Alabama halfway to 12. I mean, a 6-3 start for the Crimson Tide as Coach Johnson comes down the dugout. Crimson Tide with a loaded schedule, a lot of rankings next to these opponents, especially for some of the home matchups.
Yeah, I always talk about a lot of the SEC is when you catch teams and where you catch teams, right? So right now, if you're playing, you might want to play Florida. Alabama plays them at the end of the year. Who knows? They might get hot. That's exactly what they did last year. LSU's a team you really want to catch them before, I always say, tax season. They got it right after April 15th. You know, Missouri, if you're going on the road, you'd probably rather go to Missouri. That's a team that you feel like you could win a road series. Mississippi State right now, it just seems like that's the best time to catch them. So a lot of it just comes down to be when you catch them, where you catch them, what's their injury situation is, what is yours like. I mean, you talk to Oklahoma, they're so happy they didn't have to face Riley Quick.
And a look at the Oklahoma Sooners starting strong against a couple of unranked teams, South Carolina and Mississippi State. Next up, LSU and then Vandy, back-to-back weekends where they got to go on the road to Missouri and to Georgia. Foley Field has been playing like a bandbox to begin the year. Then Texas to close out the year. The rivalry renewed now in the SEC.
Yeah, you know that's the one that's circled. That end of the year, where that's going to be, man, that's going to be fun.
Pitching change for the Sooners as we work in the bottom of the 8th inning. It's Alabama with an 8-6 lead against Oklahoma. We were looking forward to seeing Reed Hensley on the mound for the Oklahoma Sooners. We're going to have to wait just a little bit longer as the rain has intensified here in Tuscaloosa, and we are getting Clark was on the field here in the 8th inning, but now we are set to resume play, and it starts unconventionally with a check at third base at Bryce Fowler, who had doubled earlier in the inning, took third base on a ground out, all against the new pitcher for the Sooners on the mound, Reed Hensley. It's quite a welcome to the game. Just pick off attempt right at third base with the infield in.
I've never seen the tarp pulled that fast, Roger. We need to work on our tarp pull. We were slow. 10,000 speed, I'm being told how fast that was.
It's really good.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Getting the infield in for the Sooners, trying to keep this a 2-run ball game. Oklahoma has scored 2 runs in the 7th, 2 in the 8th. Let's turn this into a tight contest after Alabama through 4 innings led 8-1. Rubber match of the series, Alabama picked up the win 8-6 on Friday. Yesterday, the Sooners on top 6-5. Richie Bonamolo Jr., what a game he has had. A bunt single, and he had a collision with Cade Snell on an inside-the-park homer by Jason Walk in the 5th inning. Both briefly left the game. Bonamolo came back. Snell still out for Alabama. Bonamolo is checked in the concussion protocol, able to return for the Crimson Tide. Alabama players pretty easy to keep focused during this rain delay. Had to be the tarp crew essentially, roll out the tarp, and then in many cases just kind of standing on the tarp, making sure it didn't blow away with the wind.
Yeah, felt like there wasn't enough time to go get what the sandbags or the things they put down, so they just stood on it, and yeah, they were just getting peppered with the rain.
Chopper to third. Infield in works for Oklahoma as Dawson Willis throws out Bonamolo, and Fowler has to stay at third base.
A good pitch right there by Hensley, and an even better play. Dawson Willis, I mean, talk about the athleticism. The shortstop could be playing. He's at third base now and accepting the role, but being able to cover some ground. 6'3", 6'4".
Reed Hensley wants no part of Justin LeBron. He will draw an intentional walk.
Hey, don't say it like that. That's us pitchers. We want that guy. That's the coach saying not letting us as a pitcher. Maybe it's not. Maybe Reed Hensley looked at coach like, hey, isn't this the better call? Let's walk him.
So, like, I've seen him homer. I've seen him drive in runs this weekend. Saw the highlights from Tennessee and Texas A&M. I'm good. But also get the extra force out on the base paths at second as Will Plattner comes in the spot of Kate Snell in the batting order. Snell had to leave with injury on that collision with Bonamolo back in the fifth. Plattner struck out his first time up. Sharply to shortstop Willits will make the play, and that closes out the inning. We go to the ninth. It's a two-run ball game. Alabama looking for the series win against the Sooners. Ninth inning after the bottom of the eighth featured an over 30-minute rain delay. Here we are in the top of the ninth. Over an hour has been delayed due to rain in this contest, but a rubber match between the Sooners and the Crimson Tide going down to the wire as we reach the top of the ninth. For Alabama, important outs to get on the mound. And for the Oklahoma Sooners, 8 wins by 1 run this season. Again, even when seemingly being out of this ball game 8-1 after the 4th inning, they have worked their way back, scoring the last 5 runs at the plate.
Yeah, you talk about both these clubs. We've mentioned how close they are. Oklahoma 10-2. You go with that even more. Let's just go 2-run ball games, 1 or 2-run ball games. That's kind of where we're at. They're 10-2. Alabama 6-1. So 2 teams comfortable playing that close ball game and you know, basically not letting the game affect them. They come out there, they compete, make the high leverage play, you're having some success.
Sooners best in the nation with those 8 one-run victories. Carson Osmer will try and shut the door on Oklahoma. He has been the closer for the Crimson Tide this season, the transfer from the University of Pennsylvania after being a great closer in the Ivy League. Now here he is on a Sunday in the SEC.
Yeah, Osmer fastball 88, 92, 93, maybe a little bit, but mostly in the 88 to 91 range. Slider, the changeup, got beat with the changeup on Friday night by Taki, but it's a guy that can come multiple arm angles. It's just a funky delivery, especially against the lefties. Eyeball's going away from him, and then the slider's coming on in.
At the moment, 3 lefty batters would be due up for the Sooners. Jason Walk, a switch hitter on deck, but right now it's Deshaun Harris. First pitch in there for a strike. Harris made the final out in the 9th inning against Osmer on Friday. A ground out to shortstop.
Slider already. Back-to-back sliders right where he wants to. Something he didn't do on Friday. They weren't in the right placement, and he got burned a little bit, but already looks better than those.
Danced in again, a swing and a miss for Harris. Early strikeout for Osmer.
All right, Roger, he sets this up perfectly with those 2 backdoor sliders that you take for strike, and then you throw this one in. It's right in the middle, and then it just disappears, and that's why you see the swing like, hey, I thought I had it, it's gone, but that is set up perfectly.
Top of the order, Jason Walk. Inside the park home run back in the 5th inning. On base twice today for the Sooners.
If you can flip it over there, just keep flipping. That's one of those is a pitcher you don't have to get any. You don't have to overthink this. You can throw that ball on the outside part of the plate. There's no way a lefty's going to be swinging. If it's on the black, they give up on it.
To left field, Brady Neal taking over there for the injured Cade Snell. Puts it away, 2 gone. It's up to Braden Horton to keep this game going for the Sooners. RBI single last time up. Spot of the batting order originally occupied by Trey Gamble, who left the game with discomfort after drawing a walk in the first inning. First pitch strike.
You can see just the way they hit it. They flinch at it because you think, all right, and then it's, okay, I don't want to swing at that one. So most guys will be taking that. If he flips it on that outside part of the plate again, gets a free strike.
Right to first. Crimson Tide with a series win against Oklahoma. Second series win for Alabama against a top 25 opponent this year. It's the 9th-ranked Sooners falling in 2 out of 3 games to the Tide. Osmer gets the save, and a gritty weekend between two teams, Lance, that as we've talked about all weekend long.